Joining us now, entertainment attorney Tre Lovell. We've been talking throughout this case, 6 weeks of testimony, the prosecution trying to connect the dots to get a conviction here. How difficult will it be for this jury just to understand the task at hand, and how will the judge instruct them today?
It's going to be difficult because these are complicated charges, racketeering, sex trafficking. They're not your garden variety criminal charges. And so a lot of attention is going to need to be made to make it simple for the jury to understand, to meet this element, to meet that element, so that they're not getting confused and we come up with the wrong verdict. So it's really a challenge with those jury instructions and the jury verdict form. They're going to be very meticulous to make it as easy and straightforward as they can. Because that's really the roadmap that allows the jurors to determine, whether or not there's there should be a conviction or there's a crime here.
So given that, are we expecting that this deliberation will take longer than usual? What should we know going into this about timing?
I think it's going to take longer than normal. Usually when there's a quick verdict, it happens one of two ways. First of all, it's a slam dunk case. And it's clear that there was a crime that happened and there should be a conviction. Or it's just absolutely not a good case at all and the jury comes back fast. There's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of things to consider. And I think the jury is going to have to take its time to go over everything, all the pieces of evidence. We're talking about 34 witnesses, hundreds of exhibits, a lot of testimony. So there's a lot to go over. And most juries take their job very seriously. They don't want to rush it. They understand, that somebody's life's at stake, the liberty of that person, and they want to get it right. So I would assume that this is going to take a little bit longer than normal.
Do you think, Tre, given all of the testimony that you heard as you followed this case, it's more likely they'll find him guilty on one of the charges? And if so, which one?
I think it's an uphill battle with RICO and the racketeering, just because there's a lot of questions there, whether or not this was a personal lifestyle or it was an actual criminal enterprise. And the sex trafficking, I think the fact that these are personal relationships, these are girlfriends, some lasting 10 years, that's not going to fall on deaf ears. So I think they may have an uphill battle with those. The one charge they may get a little bit easier is the prostitution one, the transportation to engage in prostitution, because there is evidence that they transported these sex workers across state lines. And if the jury believes it's prostitution, then they've met the element. So I think they're going to have a challenge on the two big ones, and they may have an easier time on the prostitution one.
Yeah, I mean, what a case to watch. How about the argument from the defense, Tre, that these were willing participants? And then how does that reconcile with the video that the jury saw of Cassie, his girlfriend at the time, in that hotel room?
The big competing themes in this have been coercion versus consent. And the defense is just hammered. This is consent. This is a private relationship that, yes, it went bad. There was violence and that should have never happened. But this was between two loving people. This is their lifestyle, and it certainly didn't cross the line to criminality. And the jury's going to really kind of take that to heart. The defense is pounding two things. Really, they want to go at the elements. They want to go at reasonable doubt, but they're trying to strike something bigger here. It's like, hey, this is above Sean Diddy Combs. This attacks every one of us about the government coming in our bedroom. If you have some guy that's had a string of a few bad relationships, what now they're going to go after him for racketeering? I mean, where are we going with this? And so they want to leave the jury with a little bit of something more. So this is bigger than Combs. This is really important. And I think they accomplished that. So, it's really two competing factions. And the jury's they're going to have their hands full. I think it's going to be a tough deliberation.
All right. Well, here we go. We'll wait and see. Tre, thanks as always.